women are conditioned to always believe that there is a lesser than with their male counterparts in the family or work-wise. Um, and then, of course, this relentless imposter syndrome that all of us have. I mean, mine keeps visiting me quite often. So that's very rampant as well. Fear of failure, you won't realize that failure is a very big aspect of entrepreneurship. When you get in, you have to realize that, a lot of things are not going to work.
Hello and welcome to the Success with Savita podcast, where we share hot tips on how to do life and business without losing your mind. I'm your host, Savita Nanjappa, entrepreneur, high-achieving 9-to-5er turned transformational success coach, helping you create a wildly successful business. Come hang out with me and other fabulous humans like you every week for stories and chats packed with a healthy dose of tips, resources, how-tos, and real talk. Side effects may include a happier and more confident you with each passing day. Hi, and welcome to the Women Making an Impact series. And today, joining me on this episode is my guest, who's also a dear friend, Sneha Mohan, who's the founder of GWEN. GWEN stands for Global Women's Entrepreneurship Network. And while I feel like I've known my guests for a while and we're good friends, I still feel there's so many parts of her journey, about her work, her challenges that I don't know enough about. So I'm very excited to have this conversation. Sneha, thank you for giving me your time, being so generous with your time. And I'm grateful and I'm honored to have you over here. Thank you so much for choosing to join me.
Thank you so much, Savita, for having me. And first of all, it's so lovely to see you. It's been ages, isn't it? I think we've not talked, at least not on video, for more than a year now.
Yeah, the pandemic, this is the pandemic effect, but I'm sure we would have met if not.
I know, really. And when things were starting to look better, we were planning to meet, and yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I'm so happy to see you here.
Yes, I'm really excited to do this.
Thank you. So let's get right off the bat. I want to dive right into your journey and what made you start. Like, what's been the catalyst to starting GWEN?
Oh gosh, it really was getting into entrepreneurship myself. Although I started my career as a corporate trainer, I moved from that into writing jobs because from the time I was 16, all I wanted to do was, write. I wanted to be an author and teach writing. So with that thought in mind, and without getting too much guidance at the beginning of my career, I just took what came my way. Whatever somebody who believed in me said, you would be a great fit for this. So I was referred to this job, and that's how I started as a corporate trainer. And then I moved into content writing because, again, that love for writing, right? So I thought that this would help satisfy that. But then when I got in, I realized it's a completely different cup of tea, and it's not really for me. And a few years in, I really started getting tired of the corporate scene. And I thought, I really need to go and write that book now. And by then I was married. So I discussed it with my husband, and we decided that it's okay for me to quit from a financial standpoint. And so I quit. But what didn't register at that point was that I'm not going to get that paycheck. And after having enjoyed financial freedom for so long, it just wasn't an easy feeling.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, I went back into content writing as a freelancer just so that I could still have a source of income. And then with that, I started getting so much work coming my way, more than I could manage. So I started outsourcing it to other freelancers who I knew. And then slowly that became a team. And then that became a company. And I built a website.
Okay.
And through that website is where, I got all my business from. So that was my main marketing tool. And this is back in 2007. So I was working from home, my team's working from home, my clients are all international. There was no human interaction, so to say. So in 2 years down the line, I started feeling this loneliness, because I didn't have friends who were entrepreneurs and, nobody I could sound off these challenges with, or to go and grab some lunch or coffee during the week. None of those things. So I started looking for communities or events for entrepreneurs around the city, and for women. There was nothing. So I thought, okay, why don't I create something? Because I'd already been bitten by the entrepreneurial bug by then. I thought, why don't I start something on my own? And that's how I started Gwen. This was in 2009. I designed the logo, created a Facebook page, and that was it. I didn't know where to take it from there. The path wasn't clear. All I knew is that I wanted community, and I felt like other women entrepreneurs would need it too. I definitely wanted to share the confidence that I gained from entrepreneurship, because I started
Yeah.
doing so many things that I never thought I would be capable of doing. And having grown up with low self esteem, it really changed my life. So I wanted to
Yeah.
share it with other women. And it's not until 2017, after I became a mother twice over, that I
Yeah.
realized, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so after I became a mother twice over, that I realized that uh, again I was feeling a loneliness. It's a different type of loneliness as a young mother and not having community again. And I was living in an independent house, so it wasn't a gated community. So
Yeah.
you again, that sense of community was missing. So that's when Gwen really took on a life of its own and has been shaping its destiny ever since. And I started at the grassroots level. Then I moved on to having networking events with women in the city. And then, education. And now we have an online school, and that's where I'm at now.
Okay, awesome. I have had the experience, of course, of being part of Gwen, having worked with you, having been able to collaborate with you. And I see you're so deeply passionate about this. What I didn't know was you started way beyond, like back before we all were working online or virtually. That's for your business. And also with Gwen, you started in 2009. That's amazing. I mean, when nobody, I mean, there were very few communities. Today, the world is different, of course, but I mean, congratulations on starting this. I think it's a great initiative. So, moving on, you have been someone who's worked with grassroots women, right? Like you have
Yeah.
worked with small business owners, underprivileged women, rural communities. What, according to you, are some of the challenges that they face? Is it different? The reason I ask this question is it different from what maybe we all may face, like in urban areas, or people at a different level in metro space? Is it different or is it the same?
So these were women who are living in Bangalore city, but in the villages within Bangalore city, right?
Right.
So they are exposed to urban life, but yeah, they don't have the same sort of privileges that we have in terms of
Yes.
education and
Yes.
exposure to tools or mentors or whatever it is, right? And they're also subject to
Mhm.
the patriarchal rules within their household. Like the one
Yeah.
of the women who I had slated as going to take over from me to supervise the rest
Mhm.
of them, to teach them and take over
Yeah.
the entire running of that unit, so to say, although it was just four women. She
Yeah.
had to, quit because her husband decided that he's going to bring in his aging parents to live with them. So naturally, she had to start playing a nurse and cook for them and all of that. And she already had four children of her own. So
Okay.
challenging, it's very challenging. And so for me, one of the biggest challenges was monetizing that entire effort. Not that it was difficult to scale, and it was very clear what we could do, but I didn't
Mm.
have the time or the funds, because my children were still so small, and I've been very particular that I've wanted to be a hands-on mother, so I've never had
Right.
any help for them.
Mhm.
So I think that's one of the reasons why I had to, give up on that. Otherwise, we could have scaled, we could have employed more women, taken up an actual working space, and trained them
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
upskill them through with other sorts of crafts.
Right. So
Yeah.
what I hear you saying is exposure, tools, mentoring, resources. These are some of the challenges that they face, which it doesn't really matter in all geographies, but I would think, yeah, I mean, even if you're in a small town, or even if you're on the smaller areas outside of Bangalore, and I think people within inside Bangalore also struggle with taking off from there. What are some challenges that you have seen in helping business owners? I know you shared a little bit about not having the funds, having your children being very young, but what are some of the challenges that you've seen when they have to go to market? They've got the product. They like, you hear about people doing textiles, beautiful embroidery, but what do they struggle with when they go to market? Like, how are they able to take it to market, and where do they get stuck?
So definitely, in terms of scaling, so starting is very easy. The idea is so easy. So most of them find it difficult when it comes to execution. I mean, you know that best, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But so yeah, while funds are one aspect of it, mentoring is another big aspect. They don't get the right guidance. They don't know where to go from there. They may be really good doers, as in craftspeople, or really good at what their core skills are, but may not know to market themselves. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a very common aspect of it. But in my experience in these past 3-4 years, I would say is mental health, because I really think that's the foundation for everything. Because imagine if you get funds and the right kind of mentoring and everything, but your mindset is not there. What are you going to do with any of that?
Mm.
Right.
Okay.
So that's I think, because women are conditioned to always believe that there is a lesser than with their male counterparts in the family or work wise. um, and then of course this relentless imposter syndrome that all of us have. I mean, mine keeps visiting me quite often, so that's very rampant as well. Fear of failure, you don't realize that failure is a very big aspect of entrepreneurship. When you get in, you have to realize that a lot of things are not going to work.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. Stay tuned as we take a quick break, and we'll see you on the other side of the show. Yeah, yeah. I think women already come with the perfection syndrome and always feeling like not enough. And then when they start the business, if they are not able to anticipate that there is going to be failure, then yes, you're right. But it's a very interesting take that you say for women who are in small businesses or a big business, the foundation is mental, the mindset, the mental
Yeah.
health part of it. It's very interesting that you say. That's one I've not heard. I would have thought funds, mentoring, the right platform, but it's very interesting to so right. Moving on from that, how do you manage? I know a little bit of what you've shared, of course, but how do you find managing motherhood and work? Because you have two small children. I have a little one, not so little now. She's of course 8. I struggle every day. But how do you manage? Can you share with the audience
Oh gosh.
your way?
So motherhood is a lot like entrepreneurship, right? I mean, by the time you feel you've figured out a phase, you've outgrown that, and you need to jump into the middle of the ocean again and figure out everything from scratch. Um,
Yeah.
and then, of course, you have to keep looking at the greater good and not just your interest. Little to no reward or recognition. So it's so much like entrepreneurship. But I'm like a army general when it comes to daily routine. From
Okay.
the time both my children were 3 months old, I have set a daily routine for them, for meal times, bath time, nap time, bedtime, everything. So they follow that to the T. Now they're 8 and 5. So my older one keeps everybody in check, including me, if I don't go by that. So
Okay.
that's what keeps my day predictable to a large extent. And now with the pandemic, with them being at home all the time, and they're in an alternate system of education, so they don't even have online classes or anything. The younger one's in kindergarten, so he doesn't have that. The older one needs to be taught through a kit that the school sends, so
Okay.
it's a lot more work on for us parents. Um,
Oh my.
Having said that, my husband's a very involved father, so that's immensely helpful.
Mm.
So yeah, so it's a balance, and now they've understood that when I'm sitting at my laptop, that it really means that I'm at work. They've understood that over the course of the last 1 year. But when they were
Yeah.
smaller, I used to work when only either when they're in school or once they've gone to bed,
Okay.
which used to be
You
at
know,
7 p.m.
I like the army general approach. I try to stay as much as possible to a routine, otherwise, I can't survive. But when I was putting down this question, what came up as I was putting down this question, I'm like, I'm going to talk to Sneha. And I'm asking her, how are you managing motherhood? You know, I don't even want to ask her this question because we never ask a guy this. So then I was like, I'm
Yeah,
going to ask her this question, but I'm also going to ask every man that I interview this question, saying, how do you manage
um,
fatherhood and work? Because we never seem to ask the
yeah.
guys this.
I know, really. And I think in today's world, it's a relevant question because I think the fathers are equally involved today too. And
Yeah.
now with the pandemic, they have no choice, right? They're there, they're seeing everything that's happening. So they have no choice.
Yeah, so I have decided that I would keep this question, but I'm going to ask the guys as well,
Yeah, good
just so
idea.
there's equity in my questions. And why are we always only asking the woman, how do you manage, right? That's got to change. So then I think I know that you are very organized, but what is your favorite productivity hack?
Yeah, so being organized, I love Evernote, the app. So, for me, when I get an idea, I'm one of
Hmm.
those who likes to do something immediately about it. And of course, with everything that's going on and with the children needing so much attention, that's not possible. So I either, I write it down in Evernote because it just syncs with my laptop as well.
Yeah,
I've been using that for years now. I mean, easily 10 years.
yeah.
And of course, recently the WhatsApp voice notes are really handy.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I'm going to keep that in
So,
mind. Yeah. Even I found voice notes, voice memos handy.
yeah,
Also,
when you're in a rush and maybe, doing something with one hand, either putting a
yeah.
meal together or a sandwich or whatever, you can quickly, share information with the team. And yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. And so, a day in your life. I know you shared already. I think I already know a day in your life with the pandemic, but please share with us if it's any different from your day to day online schooling and.
Yeah, so I'm not a morning person. I'm the last one to wake up in the house. And my husband mostly does breakfast for the kids. So by the time I'm up, they're done with breakfast. So I try to get in a quiet cup of tea
Hmm.
and get them to start their days. They have a routine with, making their beds and getting in for their baths and all of that. And once
Hmm.
that's over, then it's all about. So I don't have breakfast, so I go straight into household chores and cooking. And again, everything is list based. So I have like a
Okay.
plan for every day in the week, whether it is
Hmm.
laundry or meals. And Sunday is my prep day. So,
Okay.
in terms of meals, if there's chopping or if there's anything to be prepped and frozen, the freezers become my best friend over the pandemic because the children need to be fed every half an hour. Two boys
Okay.
who are all the time hungry. I think it's, boredom converting to hunger. But
Hmm.
yeah, I give in. So yeah, so that's the way it's been going. And then the children always have had an early bedtime.
Hmm.
So they used to sleep by 7. Now, of course, it's been pushed to about 8. So all of us have dinner by 7, and then it's bedtime for them. It's either a song or story time, and they're in bed. And then I sit down with, again, work or reading, or if it's a weekend, then it's a movie or something like that.
Okay. Okay, awesome. I know that you're super organized, but I like hearing about the lists. I try to be very, very organized. That's the only way for me I can survive. But I always love to hear about everybody else's day, the productivity tools. I'm like, yeah, I should apply that. I should do this. And I'm a big list keeper. So
Oh,
I resonate with you on that. According to you, okay, and I have to ask this question. According to you, what is an important value an entrepreneur should have in today's world?
I definitely think self discipline. because that's something I'm grappling with on a daily basis. Like I said, I'm not a morning person. So having a morning ritual, especially as a parent and an entrepreneur, I think is so important. And then that just sets the tone for the rest of your day, right? So I definitely think self-discipline, because again, you need so much energy
Yeah.
as a parent and an entrepreneur. So yeah, if you can get
Yeah.
your fitness and your food and everything right, have
Okay.
everything at the same time every day, yeah, that sort of discipline.
So self-discipline is an important value for entrepreneurs. Okay. A mantra that you live by.
So it's a saying by Aung San Suu Kyi, the Burmese politician. If you're feeling helpless, help someone. I read it, I think, for the first time in 2018.
Mm.
And ever since, it's been, it felt like as though she was talking to me. And it has been my WhatsApp status message for the longest time. And that feeling, that you have, what that's like, right? When you help somebody, it's that feeling is incomparable. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You
Yeah.
can never get the satisfaction, right, of that.
Yeah, because instead of dwelling on your own problems and why things are not working for you, or playing the victim, it just makes it just a win-win.
Okay. So as we come to the end of the interview, before I let you go, there's one other question. What's next for Gwen? And how can people like connect with you and be a part of the Gwen programs? What's coming up? What's next?
So, like I said, we launched an online school last year, but things have gained momentum now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everything is going to be online, so it's going to be pre-recorded classes that women can buy and learn at their own pace, because it really is challenging in these times, especially, to expect them to be to sit down at a given time and date. So this works better, I thought. And we're going to focus on entrepreneurship skills, personal development skills, and also some upskilling sort of thing, where they can learn a new skill for those women, who've probably given up their careers to become stay-at-home mothers, or whatever reason they've taken a break for, or just looking to create that pivot in their careers.
Right.
So if you learn a new skill and you want to have a handmade business, or anything for that matter, or even serious hobbies.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing, the online school. And of course, we are showcasing um, entrepreneurs, amazing women entrepreneurs like yourself. And
Ah,
yeah, so that it's inspirational, and women get to know that it's something you can do with everything else that's going on in your life,
yeah.
as long as you have the right support. So it's that community. So we're building community and education. And yeah, I mean, we can be found on Instagram,
Yeah.
and we
Um,
have our own website too.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'm going to share that with the when I'm sharing this interview, I'm going to share the links, social
Yeah,
links.
thank you.
And finally, one last thing before I go, I may be putting you on the spot here. One last piece of advice to women entrepreneurs out there.
Oh gosh, just take the plunge. Don't think about it too much. Overthinking is really the last thing you should do. And don't wait for anybody's permission. Do what you
Yeah.
think is right. Go with the feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice. I love the last one. Yes, everybody's always waiting for permission, and overthinking is a big problem, and we must talk about it. But Sneha, thank you so much. This was lovely chatting with you. And you know what I didn't know was that you started this in 2009, even though I know you so well. I didn't know that. So good to know everything that you've shared with us. Thank you
Yeah.
for your time. And yeah, I'll see you soon. And keep doing this great work. The world needs more entrepreneurs, more female entrepreneurs. So we need Gwen, of course. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you like this episode and you want more, you can go to the show notes on my website, which is successwithsavita.com/podcast. If you like what you've heard so far, I would be grateful to you if you could leave me a 5-star review, subscribe to this podcast, and share with a friend who may find this useful. You can also follow me on my Instagram at Success with Savita and DM me any questions you may have, and I will be happy to answer them for you. Until the next episode, believe in yourself and all the best to your success.